You know what I'm hearing today? God is your keeper. And the first and important message that I'm getting through today is about investment. The reason why a lot of the people who abuse and hurt you were supported by those around them is because they've already invested all their value into the simulation, into the matrix. They don't have anything to offer if somebody were to take something from them. They don't have a value in the market that person can use to trade and barter in order to get something of value. If you were to see this matrix like a game, and there are people who stay in the game long enough that they start to actually put out physical investments, money into the game to buy plots of land, to accumulate wealth in the simulation, energetic wealth. In the spirit realm, they're truly taking out of their soul pieces and bits and pieces of their soul is what's being traded. That is the value, the true value. So the reason why a lot of the people that believed they were attacking you were getting a lot of support, and you were constantly exiled, is because God promised to take you out of this world, to take you out of this matrix, to take you out of the false reality that we have been embedded into. So God is your keeper. When all those people did what they did to hurt you, what they actually did was release you from any contracts, release you from any investments that you may have had in this false simulation. That's what they did. They connected you further and deeper into source. And now is the season that you are going to see the fruits, the first fruits of this investment. A lot of you could be learning of your true value at this time. And you could even be experimenting with the matrix to see how much of you can give and what you get in return. Or, let me put it better here, you could have a better understanding of the gray area, the invisible strings that pull people towards you or push them away. A lot of you could have noticed that when you invest your energy or you believe that someone is for you, immediately you start to see them shifting behind their eyes. You start to see them backtracking and rejecting you. And for a long time, that could have been confusing, but that is the promise of God working through these people to take you out of this world. What's interesting here is how these energies and people are going to be releasing the power or the stronghold that they had in your life and in many other people's lives and systems as well. One thing that Spirit made very clear to me was how, in general, the collective is okay with justice when they feel like it's coming from a higher source. They're okay with the idea that someone is stepping down from hurting or harassing somebody else because a greater force put pressure on them, even if that justice was never really carried out. And what people are not okay with, however, is if that person or place or thing or system that was oppressing others decides to step back on their own accord after the damage has been done, after they have taken whatever they wanted to take, and they just no longer want to hurt anyone. And people are okay with, between the two, people are okay with seeing a never-ending attack on a soul or on a person or on a system. But this is the dissonance between justice and restoration that a lot of these energies and entities have abused. They have stretched out their ability to influence that gray area. The way you're going to be seeing this in real life is those who have invested into you all their energy and effort, they're not going to be seeing any returns. In fact, they are going to be bankrupt spiritually. But the thing that's interesting here is how those around you that could have been bystanders, that could have been able to help you at one point, they are all too quick and willing to withdraw their support and even to feel compensated by the idea that a higher force has stopped those who are trying to harm you. A higher force has stopped them, even if they don't see the actual evidence of justice. And this is the part where God steps in. Because you've heard it said before, and I feel like, at least personally for me, it's never been satisfying to hear how God rewards you and punishes your, quote, enemies is by making you prosper in front of them. But what does that even mean? Because I feel like a lot of us could misunderstand the idea of prosperity as something material, but it's actually even more important than that. This is where God steps in, because the actual reward, the actual veil is going to be lifted off. And that is the fact that you have been, quote, separated. And what does that even mean? Separation is not being bound by the laws of this matrix. Separation is being removed, is having the access of what God's kingdom actually is on this planet. Not just on this planet, but even beyond that. You are not bound anymore. That's the true reward. And this is the part that's going to hurt the most for a lot of your enemies. And I know a lot of you, your enemies were close. They weren't really far away. They were family, friends, siblings, people that should have looked out for you. But we're not talking about that now. What I'm getting is the fact that these people are going to see what they took from you was actually bondage. What they took from you was the very thing that was keeping you tormented and suffering on this planet. When I said God is your keeper, this is what I mean. And a lot of these people are going to see that very fact, that God is your keeper, that you have been set free. And they have just chained themselves by, like I said in the very beginning, investing themselves into this matrix. Like the Bible verse says, what does it benefit a man to sell his soul and gain the world? Don't be dismayed when your enemies get support and admiration, or even when people consider you the villain on their behalf. Do not be dismayed. Understand that God is keeping God's promise to you throughout the whole thing by allowing whatever we call the enemy to take parts of you that do not belong to your true identity, to take parts of you that were actually bound to this matrix, that were bound to this reality. A lot of these people are going to begin to understand why God showed them dreams and visions about you. There is a major separation taking place. Because a lot of those who saw visions and dreams about you were parents, were siblings, were people close to you that God revealed the true secret of your identity to, that God revealed the end result. And they foolishly thought that that result was something that you would accumulate by gaining material things, by gaining support from other people. They didn't understand the paradox of the reality that they were shown. And that was the whole purpose. It was to reveal themselves to God, to show them that their heart is actually corrupt. This is your time for vindication, and it is the beginning of theirs. Every single attack, every single psychic, mental, physical, any form of attack at this point only gets rerouted back into the earth or back into the center. There is no reason or no purpose of anything reaching you, especially if you are resonating with the timeline that I have just described. And this is the part, the confusion, the chaos, the panic strikes these people. They're beginning to realize that God gave them the illusion of your destruction. God gave them the illusion of who you even are, so that they could prune you. They would not have pruned you if they believed that was what was actually going to help you. That's why God gave them those illusions. What we will experience is a moment of silence, a moment of transition. And this is going to happen before a lot of the secret attacks that they've been waging against you become public. And when I say public, it isn't just an outing of what they have done, the secret stuff that they have been sharing. It isn't that. Some of the outing that I'm talking about is them actually physically trying to exert dominance in a way that nobody can close their eyes to. That is only going to happen when God believes and knows that the time has come for you to be released completely. A lot of your spiritual bodies, those that I've called quickening bodies, are being prepared. They're being ready to be anchored. That is what I have today. Remember, I don't reach out. Those are scammers. Everything is in the description box down below.